So this is the StreetText kind of demo overview of everything. It is a good starting place or a good review place. I know we have a lot of faces on here that I can see are members and already part of our community and got intrigued to come back and just check out our new sellers ads. So we will make sure that everybody understands they're in the right place. So this is who this webinar is for. One, you're thinking about doing a travel StreetText. Maybe you've heard of us somewhere. We keep popping up in your Facebook newsfeed. You are coming to check us out, but you actually haven't started a trial yet. So you haven't engaged and started the trial. You're just looking about whether it's something you want to investigate. The other person that attends this webinar is recently started a trial. Maybe you started a trial, you clicked the start trial button. I'll have you know that a lot of people kind of get panicked because they want to get going and use their 7 days. We do work with you during your trial period. So if you come in, especially as we head into a weekend, you don't quite get connected with your coach, your trial doesn't start, the clock isn't ticking on that trial. So don't worry about that. We'll get you set up and run, and your mentor and your coach here will work with you to make sure you get a good use of your trial. And then some people are just looking for a quick refresher. They're members with us already, perhaps intrigued by our new sellers template and a post we did on the insider group. So they joined us here this morning just to learn more about that specifics, but it's always good to go back to the basics and review some of these basic concepts, because these concepts are going to make or break your experience with StreetText. So we're glad you're here. So if you just set it up and you don't make use of some of the concepts that we give you here, you're missing out on some great opportunity to really make sure your ad budget goes the longest it can on Facebook. The next thing we're going to talk about is the elephant in the room. It's called social media. I don't know about you, but social media is that thing that we all know has great potential. We all think that maybe we should be doing more on social media, but it feels like it's a gigantic task to take on. It feels really time-consuming, overwhelming, frustrating, hard. So we sometimes ignore it or we haphazardly go at it. So we're here to tell you that you can take on the elephant, that's social media. You can eat an elephant. You just got to do it one bite at a time. So this webinar is really that kind of one bite at a time thing, so that you really get to see the tool, but also make the best use of it step by step with your mentor. So we'll take you through kind of the first steps, which you need to know straight out of trial. And then we'll continue that experience by introducing you to all of the amazing resources and community we have to help you continue to learn how to utilize this. But can anybody relate to this? The Facebook Ads Manager. Have you used the Facebook Ads Manager before? If you have, you might relate to the fact that we like to call it the labyrinth of frustration and confusion. If you've ever tried to launch an ad on the Facebook Ads Manager, it's like they purposely go out of your way to make you frustrated and confused. I was working with somebody yesterday in their Facebook account, and they said the F word 3 times in a row. And they kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I get it. It's not an easy platform to use. It's frustrating, and they continue to change it. Buttons continue to move. Ads, the types that you can run continue to change. Recently, we did an iOS update that affected the way we run conversion ads. So all of those things that are happening all the time just make it a really frustrating tool to use. So what are your options when it comes to, hey, I want to use it. I know there's great potential there. You have kind of, we call it 2 spectrums of options. So on one side of the spectrum, you could hire someone to do it all for you. So you can hire someone who does Facebook ads that can run them on your behalf, and they can run with that whole budget that you give them. When you give that over to an expert, you're really at the mercy of their level of expertise. When they go and they run the ads and they spend the money on the ads and they bring the leads to you, or you see the leads, at that point, you have no reference point as to, like, is this a good ad? Is this running well? What should if I spend X amount of dollars, what should I have as an expectation in terms of lead return? So you're really at the mercy of them. And if you say to them, hey, I'm not happy with the results, the only thing you could really do is just send them back to try again, but you don't have much more control than that. Then we have the complete other end of the spectrum. You could become an expert. I really believe, like, you can do anything you want to do. I don't know if anybody ever told you that, but you could learn and do anything you want to do. But is that a best use of your time? Like, are you going to learn how to become an expert in social media running the Facebook Ads Manager? Because if you are, the cost is going to be your valuable time. The cost is going to be time to always be on top of it, always be educated. It's no longer this quick part-time run a Facebook ad, figure it out. and those part-time hours, it's something you're always having to be on top of. So what is StreetText? Well, StreetText, that kind of happy in-between point. So what we are is we don't need you to become an expert, or we don't need you to hire an expert. You're going to become your own manager of your own Facebook ad accounts, but we're going to mediate on your behalf. So we're a do-it-yourself tool that allows you to not have to log into the Facebook Ads Manager. What you're going to do is you're going to log into StreetText. When you log into StreetText, we mitigate on your behalf with the Facebook Ads Manager, and we have been launching templated real estate ads for years now, and we know what works. We know what people are clicking on. And here's the big, most important part, and we're glad you're here. It's going to be the major takeaway from this webinar at the beginning, is even though we know our templates work, we just want to teach you how to split test our templates to get the best results. Because you can have a fantastic ad fall on the wrong audience in the first 24 hours and have horrible results. And we don't want you to make a judgment on the tool and not understand that if you can take the same ad, but just land on the right audience in the first 24 hours, you can have an ad that's getting you leads in 24 hours and it's working well and continue to work well. And then you can focus on all the other part of it. So we're going to teach you how to click the funnels button, pick an ad template, launch that ad, and within 24 hours have a split test running that you can choose the best, most engaging ad after that. On top of that, we're going to put everything together for you. So we have proven, ready to launch ad templates available to you. But we're not just launching the ad. What you're going to learn is when you launch the Facebook ad from our platform, you're launching the entire funnel. So no trying to figure out how to put all of your funnels together. The funnel's already built for you. So when you launch the Facebook ad, you're also launching the associated landing pages. You're launching an email and text campaign that's completely editable. You can go in and you can change it and you can put your personality on it. We love that topic, and that's what we'll dive in further as you meet our community. And then you can focus on what really matters, which is that follow-up game, working with those leads. And our community is stellar at sharing. I mean, Wendy was so awesome and generous on our mastermind yesterday. She got a listing from this seller's template that you're using that she launched last week. And she reported on exactly how she got it, what she sent. She shared her text messages. She even shared the presentation that she did with everybody that she got. So we have such a generous community, and we're excited to kind of introduce you to them because we want to kind of pull all these pieces together and keep them all in one place just to simplify this. So just know this is what your trial is focused on, the Facebook ad. We want to show you in your trial experience what is a reasonable expectation for lead flow. And then your membership is based on all this stuff here. When you become a StreetText member, it's about getting a plan and a process in place that wins to work with these. But this funnel is only as good as the doorway. If nobody's coming in the door, it doesn't matter what you're sending them because you just don't have any leads. So let's first solve the first problem. Help you launch simple ads on Facebook so you can see leads come in at a reasonable cost. And then if you are like, I'm in, then we're excited to invite you into all the rest of what we do here at StreetText. So let's talk about that split test. We want to make sure we understand. We're going to show you the ad in a second. Marcus is going to talk to you about what the ad looks like and your ad choices during trial. And Logan here is just going to explain whatever ad that you pick, whatever template that you run, you're going to want to run a split test. This is a foundational concept that you're going to want to learn because it'll change everything. So Logan, can you chime in here and help us understand why we would run a split test and what it is?
Certainly, yeah. I mean, there's two items. I'll start with this. There's two items of immense importance as to why we do the split test. One is audience demographic, obviously very important. The other is statistical measure. So I'll start with the first side of this here is that as soon as you run an ad on Facebook, Facebook is going to rely on a test audience of the first 500 people that ad reaches. That test audience and how they happen to react in that moment to that very ad will set that ad up for success or failure. So if within your first 500, there are more people who took positive action, like, share, click, comment, comment favorably, I guess I should add. Well, Facebook then says, okay, this ad's fairly relevant. We can charge a lower cost per click. That kind of facilitates the ability to leave this ad running long term. The higher the relevancy, the lower the cost per click. Great start. Also, what actions did those people take? The ones who clicked, did they leave information, right? That will start to show you your cost per lead, cost per email, cost per result. And that's the StreetText side. That part your coach will be able to run through with you a little bit and show you expectations for each individual area. But the other item of again, immense importance is that pre-2019, before the special housing ad category was enacted, you used to be able to basically tell Facebook, look, this is my demographic. I'm looking for a guy named John Smith who drives a red Lamborghini on Sundays. You could be so darn specific, and you needed to be, because you had to put in, I'm avoiding realtors, I'm avoiding brokers, I'm trying to find this demographic. Well, you don't get to select any of that anymore. But Facebook still uses all that same information that it once did. So what it's going to do now is within your first test audience, Facebook's going to look at all the ones who they put into the positive category, the ones who liked, shared, clicked, and commented favorably. Facebook's then going to try to locate and position the ad in front of more similar profile types to those who've already shown interest in it, right? That is your demographic. So if you're relying on one ad, you're relying on one potential demographic, one setup, one startup. Whereas if you split test, which is our recommendation, you build 3 ads, you have 3 opportunities to test, because you're not testing the ad, you're testing the audience. We're trying to find you the best audience possible, and you can't do that on one ad. So whenever you go to build one ad, and this doesn't even necessarily, obviously we want you guys using StreetText, of course, but this information does translate outside of our platform as well. Just know, anytime you want to use Facebook for advertising, build 3. Wait 24 hours. Now, here's the other thing that's really important is good ads will eventually run their course and die off on Facebook. It's going to happen. Bad ads never get good. Never, ever, 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 ever. If you have an ad that struggles through its first 24 hours, it'll struggle indefinitely as long as you're willing to keep throwing money at it. Worst thing to do. And in fact, that's the one thing I try to convince all my clients to do is series of short sprints, because if you do an $8 test, let's say, if your ads are running and you've spent about $8 and you haven't brought in a lead yet, that ad's not going to suddenly produce, high quality, low cost leads. Turn it off now. Turn it off early. Get in front of it. Use the remaining budget that you might have wasted to run another split test. Just you keep testing and testing until within your first 24 hours, you're finding leads, you're finding emails, hopefully phone numbers. And then you can look at the demographic and make sure, okay, these addresses are in an area that I like. The kind of people are seemingly the people I want to deal with. Great. That's the ad you keep running. And typically you have weeks, if not months or more, of that ad remaining, stable and doing what it's supposed to do. So with the split test, again, that's the most important thing to understand. Build 3 ads, but now what ad do you start with? Obviously, that's going to be incredibly important as well. And we do have a ton of options during trial. We've limited you a little bit, but they're all our alternatives. So I'll turn it over to Marcus and I'll let him discuss a little bit more on, what ads we have available. And, Marcus always has some fun stuff to add. So Gary, Marcus.
All right, let's do this. I'll share my screen. So in the trial, all of you have a couple options. Now I'll go with the easiest option first, because the easiest option is, hey, click, deploy. And you have coaches that will do some breakout rooms shortly to help you deploy these. And I think you're gonna find it's gonna be so easy. But really, I'll show you the experience from the home owner, so you're clear what you need to do, not just deploy some ads, because leads will come at you fast in most cases, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, what should I do to actually have a conversation with them? So I'm gonna go into a couple ideas for you. The first one is this one. So this is what I suggest everyone starts with in their trial. It's very easy. It's been tested to get some really great results, because simply you're saying, hey, learn our top tips for anyone thinking about selling their home. They may not be what you think they are. And as soon as they click on this as a homeowner, it's auto-populating their information. That's called a lead ad. That's what I love about it, because ultimately you want to make it as easy as possible for that person to get what they asked for. So the lead ad is my favorite way to go straight for the information you're looking for. Yes, I understand a lot of you want the address, and we have a clever way of asking for it. And there's different ways to do it, and we'll talk about that shortly. But this way, as soon as you click next, captures, and it deploys automation in that very moment. So I haven't done anything yet as a homeowner but click. And as soon as I click, I've got an automatic text going out. I've got an automatic email going out. And I'll show you some examples. Now, once they submit, it's going to basically just go to send me the list, and they can actually download the PDF right there. And it's also going to be sent via their email. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool PDF. And there will be opportunities to brand this with your own information. We'll talk a little bit about that shortly. But so the cool thing is what's happening is you have these automations in the background of your dashboard. And again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because that's why you have individual coaches for it, and we can walk you through it. But what I will tell you is that your job after you get these ads set up is to go in there and automate it with your brand. Because if they're going to automatically see something from you, you don't want it to be underwhelming. You don't want it to be something that can be misconstrued. I find, based on our studies here for the last 6 years, anybody who leaves it blank and generic has a hard time recovering, because that's left for interpretation, and interpretation never goes in your favor. So there's a lot of cool things you can do, even with an email like this. And you can see Wendy typically, like, this is her email with the free download, but typically what she would do is also have the video in there automatically sending out as well. And we'll show you how to do that. Our favorite integration, and the most popular one often talked about, is something called BombBomb. Very inexpensive at their basic level. It's like $1 a day. So that is one thing I would look at, number one. Number two, the AI component, which is your text message assistant, has to be activated in the conversions tab, and conversation, I should say, and we'll talk you through that. We'll walk you through some examples. But I will tell you, it's straight up super easy. You're basically sending a text out that says, "Hey, Marcus, just checking to see if you got my list of 12 seller tips in your email, ... If not, please check your spam folder." Or sometimes my emails go there, crazy face emoji. Thanks. You never want to let it feel like it's on AI. And as soon as you send that out, let's say you time delay that for 5 minutes, wow, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I'll show you the example here. This person got it, and seriously, all they said, "Hey, I got it. I'm interested in selling my home." I mean, that easy, right? Like that. It's not going to happen like that all night. Come on, let's be honest. This is just, but when it does, you want to actually get into your dashboard on your phone and reply, "Okay, great. If you want to send me your address and what you owe, I'll send you some info first thing tomorrow. Address, 370K. And then, I'm not going to go through all the details, but they end up setting an appointment, and they're going back and forth. And now they're sending details about the home and, all this great stuff. And she landed the listing appointment yesterday. So this is what happens when you create a relationship often and early. But I will tell you, the top of funnel is really all about the relationship. It's all about creating conversations. Lead generation, for our standpoint, has never been a hard thing, because we are a preferred marketing partner with Facebook. We understand when their algorithm is shifting and changing, and every market's unique and different. Okay, Wendy's in Las Vegas, and she's getting $6 phone numbers right now, and that's awesome, because if anybody who's in a higher competitive market knows it's sometimes pretty hard. But you have to be able to split test and A/B test, and it doesn't always just land. That's why we have to find which audience is going to give us the best representation for that spend. But if you start looking at this as, just a learning opportunity with the community to see how this all comes together, and be open to doing things a little bit differently, using your Facebook Messenger, leveraging some video, learning how to win friends and influence people that you've never met before, coming from contribution, and being willing to give, no obligation, complimentary, my way of giving back, that type of language, you'll find people will respond to that. They won't be so guarded. And I think that's why you need to see that the opportunity arises with the first impression you make. And so don't let that first impression be generic. That's what we're here for. That's what we're going to teach you. And if you're open to that, you'll be a fit. And what we'll say is, coming out of this little demo here, we're going to go into breakout rooms, and we're going to help you set that up. One of the first things we want you to do is, number one, connect with your coach on Facebook so that we can add you into our Facebook group community. That is where the gold is, especially our Wednesday mastermind sessions. And if you've never been to one, you can watch our last one that was yesterday. It's always recorded and uploaded to YouTube. There's nothing that makes it better than being there live if you can make it. But we also have a ton of other things, right? So I don't want to go over too much of it, but I will tell you the community of the Insider Group is the best thing you can start looking into right away. And then just understand we have masterminds on Wednesdays, lead conversion workshops, ad performance and help reviews, custom domain help. I mean, because we're not going to just do the lead ad. We have lead generation that goes far beyond that. For the example, like most of the users that have been with us for years are very familiar with this type of ad. It's a conversion pixel, but you would need a custom domain for that. So that's why in your account right now, I believe, if I'm in the wrong way, I have a lot of tabs open, you have to unlock it for 50 bucks if you're in trial. So it's because we're giving you a custom domain. And to run conversion objectives, which is not the lead ad, it's a different style of ad. I'll tell you, when you click on that ad, it's not asking for all the information up front. It's a little bit different and very effective, but you got to understand it's a different funnel altogether that's activated by first capturing the address. So surprise, surprise, there's where your address comes in, right? Then by going into email, and they have to give permission to be contacted. So it just shows you all the solutions and offerings we have. It's not just a lead ad. We have buyers ads, listings ad. We have custom ads class with Logan. And that's one of my favorite things because we're exploring so many new ad templates and variations to bring back to you. Because the beauty of all what we do is that if we find something working really well, we template it and bring it back to you and you get the results. And we do tens of thousands of data points to find out if it's going to be effective. Now, once they get through here, this is where they have the chance to pull in the name and phone number, which again activates the SMS assistant. You can see branding, you see Facebook reviews. And so it's a different funnel. We call it a micro commitment funnel. It's not asking for all the information up front, which is why it's so effective, but it's a different call to action. It's not saying, here's your download your list. It's saying what's your home really worth, enter your address, receive your home value. That's the call to action. So just be open to learning because we want to take the thinking off of you so you can go out and be in relationship. We've done all the marketing and advertising and research with Facebook to find out which ad copy, which images, what kind of funnels work best. So all you got to do is basically plug and play, with a little bit of training, and then understand how to make decisions with your coach within the first 24 to 40 hours to see which ad performs best. Then you kind of move and shift into process, integrations, follow-up, all that good stuff. And then your ad's gonna, all ads come to an end life and you have to actually start over. So that's why a lot of what we teach you too is how to maintain the life of that ad by making sure that you're following the performance socially on it. People are liking or commenting, especially when they're commenting negatively. You got to understand Facebook will kill that ad's performance if you don't stay on it, hide it, and or respond kindly to it. And then when you are getting likes and you're getting some great social proof, having fun interactions on that ad will also encourage life to your ad, and will also show you how you can share your ad personally to your own Facebook sphere, to groups, to bring more clicks to it. Facebook doesn't charge you for those organic clicks. So lots of fun stuff, right? You just got to be ready to be hungry to learn, because that's the big thing. It's the investment of your time. We are not a set it and forget it program. We are that in between. So you don't have to go spend a ton of money, but you do have to spend some time in the foundational aspect of this. And that's why we have a community, we have a coach and training. So if you're willing to do that, you're a fit. If you're like, oh, I'm just looking for someone to hire and do it for me, I would just end this meeting right now. So yeah, I kind of went on a tangent there. Is that about right? Any other questions or anything that I left off there, Ira?
Brandon, maybe you could run us quickly through, because I think we want to give you all the kind of pieces of the puzzle as you come into trial here. And one of the things is, what is my marketing budget for the year? A lot of us, sometimes we get into real estate and we never even thought about the fact that we need a marketing budget. We need to spend money meeting people. And so let's show you what the platform cost is so that you can see the platform cost of StreetText if you can decide to continue.
So what you're going to do is you're logged into your account here under the dashboard. There's two options. You can click this button here that says sign up for a full account, or you can go to the bottom here that says ready to sign up. you have your drop down menu here, and we have our 3 plans. So we have a 12-month, a 6-month, and a 3-month. They're all billed up front, and then it renews month to month after the term is up. So our 12-month is $19.20, and it renews on month 13 at $160. We have a 6-month plan, which is $1,020, and it renews month to month at $170 on that month 7. A 3-month plan, which we like to call our extended trial, is $600, and it renews on month 4 at $200 a month. Keep in mind that doesn't not cover your Facebook advertising costs. You'll have to pay for that yourself, which is going to be between $9 to $12 a day. If you go with kind of a $10 mark, you're roughly thinking around $300 a month. Factor in the odd split test in there as well, and then depending if you're going to run, a buyer ad, a listing ad, and whatnot. But your coach can help you work with that a little bit more in depth past this here. But yeah, those are the pricing options there.